limit. The truth is on our side. There's no time for worry. Let's show the world our pride. Whether another comes up with a surprise, we all will discover where our fate will lie. On a blue wave, we rise to save the day. Only me, only you can let our hearts sail away on a blue wave.
Welcome to TruBlu Politics Podcast, episode 57 with Karen from Chicago.
And Anita from San Antonio.
And we are here. This is on the heels of a very busy, again, news week. Today is the 21st of March, 2026, and we are at the vernal, is it the solstice, summer solstice?
Yeah, no, spring. And
spring solstice, sorry.
It's
spring
also,
solstice.
well, yesterday was the anniversary, the 23rd anniversary of the Iraq War starting.
Yeah, wow.
I know. Wow. Isn't that amazing? 23 years ago.
Where has the time gone?
I don't know,
it
but
seems like just
we're reliving
yesterday.
it. It's deja vu.
Yeah. That was then. This is now. Oh.
This is stupid, Iraq.
Yes.
This is much stupider.
The first term was stupid Watergate.
Yeah.
And now this is stupid Iraq.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Iraq, the first time, was pretty stupid. Mm-hmm. So you can imagine the depths of stupidity we're dealing with now.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not even trying. They're too stupid to lie to us. I mean, they can't even make up a decent lie.
No, I mean, George W. Bush and Dick Cheney and Rumsfeld, they put together their little shit package. Yeah. And they like trotted it out before Congress. They
they went to the UN. Colin Powell sent Colin Powell out there to ruin his reputation.
This dumbass didn't even, try, because why? That would require work.
Yeah, that would require work, and that would actually require coordination and strategy, and they really just can't get it together, even enough.
They can't even get it together with, like, when each one of them goes out in public and they say something, and then Trump totally contradicts them.
Yeah, that's why I don't think any of this. When I hear people, oh, this is to do this is a cover up for this or that. No, it's much simpler than that.
Nope.
There's not a lot, going on here, okay?
Yeah. Don't try and figure out this strategy. There's no fucking strategy.
There's no strategy. There's no plan.
No.
It's all, let's just wing it.
Let's see what happens if we do this.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
Let's see.
And I mean, I said this on the Politics Bar about it being a war, not a war of choice, but a war of whim.
Yeah.
Because that's what this is.
That's
Donald Trump just, Bibi Netanyahu had been kind of trying to convince him. Apparently, he'd been calling. This was in the New York Times.
Bibi Netanyahu?
The late Bibi Netanyahu. That's what, allegedly, okay?
Allegedly.
And he was calling him up and, trying to put some pressure on him. I heard that MBS, Saudi Prince, was also involved, but not quite as much. I'm not sure about that. He doesn't seem to be very happy about the way it's going.
No?
No, not too much. They're getting bombed.
So that $2 billion, I mean, he's at least sunk $2 billion, right?
Into Jared.
Right. Yeah. Into Jared. And
yeah. I mean, and Qatar spent, at least a $400 million plane. And who knows what else? Because they bought a lot of crypto. They bought a lot of that Trump shitcoin.
You know what? I'm kind of, now I'm starting to wonder if there's like a bone saw in Jared's future.
Oh, I know. I don't know, but we wouldn't care. I mean, what was it? Donald Trump was on the phone joking about it. Maybe we'll all just be joking about Jared getting the bone sawed.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously, nobody's going to cry for that guy.
Mm-mm.
But anyway, so Bibi was talking and to him.
Not that, look, thoughts and prayers, like not that that's we want him
we
to
wouldn't
meet that end.
Of course not.
Not
No,
at all.
no,
Never.
no.
True Blue Politics podcast will not be okay with that.
No,
And
we
Anita from
denounce
San Antonio
anyone that would
never
say such
meant
thing.
to imply that she would.
No, I would never. I didn't mean to suggest that I would be happy about that.
No.
But I would not be sad.
Okay. You can write to the show at Anita from San Antonio at
No, you
gmail.com.
can't. I mean, nobody likes Jared, okay?
What?
Nobody likes Jared. Anyway, they really don't.
And moving right along.
Anyway, so Bibi was telling him, and then there were reports that and I sent you that Political article about how the U.S. was pressuring Israel to go ahead and attack Iran, and then Iran would attack U.S. military bases in the Middle East, and then the United States would have justification for going to war with Iran, which would make it much easier for them to explain it to everybody.
Do you want me to read from this article?
Yeah, please read at least some of it.
So this is an article out of Politico with Dasha Burns and Nahal Tusi. It was February 25th, 2026. And
like 3 days before the actual attack on Iran, before we actually started bombing Iran. So this is right before that, just to make that clear.
Yep. And so senior advice, thank you for doing that, Anita.
Okay, you're welcome, Karen.
Okay, senior advisors to President Donald Trump would prefer Israel strike Iran before the United States launches an assault on the country, according to two people familiar with ongoing discussions. These Trump administration officials are privately arguing that an Israeli attack would trigger Iran to retaliate, helping muster support from American voters for a U.S. strike. The calculus is a political one. That more Americans would stomach a war with Iran if the United States or an ally were attacked first. Recent polling shows that Americans and Republicans in particular support regime change in Iran, but are unwilling to risk any U.S. casualties to achieve it. That means Trump's team is considering the optics of how an attack is conducted, in addition to other justifications such as Iran's nuclear program.
Okay, what that means is that they were willing to sacrifice American troops in the Middle East, stationed on military bases in the Middle East, to justify this war.
Yep.
They were going to allow that. That's what they wanted.
Dead Americans.
Dead Americans. Yep.
They were willing to, they were hoping for a 9/11, for those people that are old enough to remember this, a 9/11 style attack, terror attack on Americans.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but Americans dying.
As far as that's what I mean. As far as, the number of Americans, they were okay with that.
Yeah, they were okay with that. As a matter of fact, that would make it even easier to justify it if Americans died.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
They killed Americans. They killed American soldiers. We need to go to war with Iran now.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to get that same kind of fervor in like after 9/11, people were were just pumped up. We wanted to attack somebody. I know I felt that way, and at that time I remember feeling kind of impotent because who do we attack? What do we do? Who did this to us? And so Bush used that to get us all pumped up about going to war with Afghanistan and then Iraq. He used us like that, and this feeling of just anger.
Right.
And at first, remember, Afghanistan had like a 90% of approval, popularity.
Right.
And I was in that 10% that was not okay with it.
Yeah.
But, just saying.
But, and they used, Colin Powell, who was,
for Iraq. Yeah.
Who was, but that was, never Afghanistan for sure, going into Afghanistan.
Afghanistan was one thing. Afghanistan was totally different.
No, I know. Hold on.
Yeah.
But they used Colin Powell to sell us the Iraq War. And that was on the heels of 9/11, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what
Afghanistan
I'm
was
saying
only like
is,
a month later, and Iraq,
no, I know, but
yeah.
So what I'm trying to get at is the fact that, also, I mean, we can't like think about this without going back to H.W. Bush too. And
the first one?
And the first one where it was, we were basically then there too sold a bag of goods that this was not, it wasn't for oil. It wasn't for oil.
You mean Kuwait?
And it was just, going into Kuwait. And
yeah, but the reason why, I don't want to get into this too much, but the reason why I went to war the first time under H.W. Bush is because Iraq invaded Kuwait.
Right.
There was a reason. We had justification for that because there was actually, aggressive, Iraq was aggressive towards Kuwait and actually invaded them and a sovereign nation. I know,
but Saddam Hussein, and I don't want to, but Saddam Hussein was the guy that the U.S. and George W. Bush and Reagan preferred and propped up.
Yeah. Well, for many, many years. Yes.
For many years, and the war against Iran.
But they also propped up Iran. They were supplying both countries.
Sure. So my point being, Republicans always set the stage for this kind of bullshit.
Yeah, but I want to separate the Afghanistan, the first one, from the rest of this, because honestly, what happened after 9/11 was, Kuwait wasn't sold to us the way that war wasn't sold to us the way the Iraq war was sold to us, because that one, they used our anger at what happened on 9/11, and then they tried to tell us that Saddam Hussein was somehow involved in that.
Right.
Iraq did invade Kuwait. Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11.
No.
So it was just a bunch of lies. And then it was, Iraq has WMD, which wasn't true.
Right.
We know it was true. People like us were screaming about it.
Well, and there was that, but there was that other piece of it that they were trying to suggest that bin Laden and cells of Al Qaeda were hiding out in Iraq, too.
Yeah,
I remember that as well.
Yeah, they would say stuff like that, or they even insinuated, at least, that's for sure. And just like they would always bring up 9/11.
But the reason I think that I was bringing up the first one was because they used Colin Powell, who was a hero of that war. He was considered a hero from that war. So Americans that were, old enough during the lead into the second Gulf War, knew who Colin Powell was, knew that he was a hero, considered him a hero, and viewed him as
and the world
viewed him as credible.
And the world did
too. And so it was easier then. So they used him to sell the war to the American people as well as our allies.
Yeah, he went to sell it to the world, to go to the UN and lie to them. Yeah. And remember, what's his name? General Westmoreland? Is it Westmoreland?
Mm-hmm.
Who's come out since and talked about that? Not Westmoreland. Oh my God, what's his name? That was his attaché, or what do they call that? He worked with Colin Powell, and he talks about how they were lied to too. Colin Powell, they weren't told the full story, and they were kind of misled. And Colin Powell went up there and just trusted this information that he was being given, and especially people wanted to trust the information Bush was giving them after 9/11. Hillary Clinton talked about that, how she believed him.
Mm-hmm.
To us it sounds incredulous, right?
But the Republicans knew that, the Bush administration and Dick Cheney, they understood how universally appealing and beloved Colin Powell was on both sides, like both arguably. Democrat, conservatives, liberals, we all looked at Colin Powell as a good
of course.
guy, right?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Which is just that just speaks to their, just how diabolical and disgusting they are, that they would have used somebody like him to do that.
Yeah, I don't, that the whole group of people and what happened, I mean, and how they misled us, lied to us, deceived us the whole time. I mean, I remember at the time being just so angry. And then the whole torture thing and all the stuff that come out about Abu Ghraib and the stuff that was coming out and the lies about that, the lies about Gitmo.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I mean, when you read about what was the curveball, what they were doing was they were taking raw intelligence. I mean, I don't want to get into this because I don't remember the details that much. I just remember this. They used this source that was not credible. Everybody said he wasn't credible. Curveball.
Right. But I think, but I do think, and we don't have to get into the weeds with any of this stuff, but I mean, I do think that it is, important to give the historical context because that was then, and now here we are.
And they told us, it would be over in no time. They told us, and remember the mission accomplished. It just the things that everybody remembers. And George Bush standing there on that aircraft carrier with the mission accomplished.
Exactly.
Things like that.
Exactly. And so, and then there are some, familiar faces and voices that are, now, here again, like the neocons, the Lindsey Grahams, all of these people that have been banging the drums of war, John Bolton banging the drums of war against Iran. And, but there are some people that are coming out and speaking out, and there's Trump's former defense secretary, Jim Mattis. Mad
Dog Mattis. Remember
Mad Dog
him?
Mattis,
He was his first secretary, Donald Trump's first secretary of defense, his first term. And he resigned the first time, if you remember correctly, because he was just done with them. I remember Donald Trump said, "Oh, I fired him," and the guy came out and said, "No, I resigned." Just saying.
Yeah, okay. and so the first Iraq war, we had allies that we were able to enlist and help, right? Now you sent me a clip here. America is becoming predatory. America is unreliable. There's a sense that we are not a reliable security partner right now. You can't bring allies on board if they don't trust you. And I'm just going to play this.
Okay, but before you play that, just to preface it by saying, everybody, I mean, all the NATO countries, all our so-called allies, they're mostly our former allies, have told Donald Trump to go pound sand. They are not going to help him. He's been begging for help. And one of the reasons why is because they don't trust him. He's been insulting them. He didn't consult with any of them before he did this. The only person that he consulted with was Bibi Netanyahu. So go ahead and you can play that.
And this is from the PBS.
You say in your memoir, nations with allies thrive, those without them die. Whether we like it or not, we are part of a world that needs allies. And yet, President Trump has said, we don't need anybody. We're the strongest nation in the world. So can the United States succeed in this war without allies, other than Israel?
No.
What is your sense of the biggest concerns from our allies right now?
Well, there are many of the same concerns that we hear from our fellow citizens. America is becoming predatory. America is unreliable. They say one thing and they change 7 days later or 2 days later. So there's a sense that we are not a reliable security partner right now. The first time NATO went to war was after we were attacked. And one of the countries that lost as many boys per capita fighting alongside us after America was attacked on 9/11 was Denmark. And Denmark is, of course, the country that owns Greenland. So when you think of a threat against a NATO ally, or when you hear that we're putting tariffs on allies at the same time we're demanding they increase their defense expenditures, which requires a robust economy, you're seeing a strategic disconnect. And right now, many of the actions we're taking, unfortunately, mean that we're working against our own strategic outcome at the end. And you can't bring allies on board if they don't trust you. We're going to have to deal with this threat by this aberrant, bizarre, murderous regime in Tehran, and we're going to do it at the end of the day with allies, lots of allies.
Yeah, we pissed off all of them. Remember, we were just threatening to take Greenland.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Denmark was preparing for that.
Mm-hmm.
They were blowing up the airfields. They had plans to blow them up in case of an invasion from the United States of America.
Yeah.
And that would have blown up NATO. And now he's threatening to blow up NATO again. He calls it a paper tiger at the same time that he's saying that they should help us.
Right.
I mean, remember he posted a week or two ago, right after, everything started going to shit, when it was obvious the Strait of Hormuz, which everybody knew the Iranians would seize control of and stop oil from getting through there, tankers from getting through there. I mean, he posted that, all these people, all these nations have already said they're going to help us in the strait, and they were already going to be sending some aircraft carriers. And that wasn't true, but he couldn't tell you which countries they were right now.
No. And again, it speaks to, you're not articulating, you're not even putting, work into, show the American people how this actually benefits them. I mean, gas prices, I'm paying, like here in Chicago, I've been keeping track of one particular gas station, and the gas prices have gone up over $1.50.
Yeah, I know. They're going up. They've averaged, I think, at least $1 since it's all started.
Yeah,
but the point is that he keeps he said unreliable. He says that, okay, everybody hears this. Everybody's listening to what he's saying because he's the president of the United States, right? The world is listening. And then he says things like, we're gonna escort these tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, right? Our military, our Navy's going to do that. And then, of course, his Secretary of Energy says, we've successfully done that. We've escorted a tanker through the Strait of Hormuz. And then, of course, the stock market reacts. Stock market goes crazy. And then the price of oil just starts dropping. And then he deletes the post because it wasn't true.
Right.
I mean, everybody's watching this clown show. They're going to help us. We don't need them. Please help us. No, we don't need any help. We're winning. Please help
first, America.
Well, he's saying, we're winning. And then, the next thing we're sending troops, or we need $200 billion, right? What is $200 billion? Do you know how much that would have paid for a full year in Iraq? More than paid for it. So what is
Anita,
going on?
How is this making us appear strong, or making
America great again?
Yeah.
It's not. It's making America, it's destroying us. And, gas, not only gas prices, but everything's going to go up because diesel's through the roof. Diesel's over $5 right now.
So that translates into higher costs of food, right?
Of everything.
Yep.
And a lot of the stuff that goes through that strait, like fertilizer, helium. I know helium, it sounds stupid, like you're thinking of helium balloons. Oh, who cares? But apparently that's needed in semiconductor manufacturing. So it's going to affect everything. And they're talking about famine because there's the fertilizer, the components that are needed to make fertilizer go through there. And, without fertilizer, you can't have crops.
Right. You can have crops, but not crops abundant enough to feed the world's population.
Right. And it's especially poorer countries are going to be suffering.
Yep.
And it's like it always is everywhere. People who can least afford it are going to suffer the most.
Of course.
So it's just, I mean, and people are, he ran on, this is what's almost unbelievable about this situation. He actually ran, and he's only been president for a year. So the campaign wasn't that long ago when he was telling us no new wars, blah, blah, blah. And, especially in the Middle East. And, what a disaster that was, going to Iraq and all these other things. But of course, all the evidence was there that he was full of shit. Because what would he say about why Bush screwed up in Iraq? Because he didn't steal the oil.
Right.
Because he didn't steal the oil. What did he say about the terrorists? He would have killed their families.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just, and he was very, has an itchy trigger finger. Oh, let's let him, release the mother of all bombs just to keep him, happy.
Yeah.
I'm going to, I mean, he's just, this was all there. The drones that he used to use, way more than Obama did. And Obama had a much more reason. It was right after Iraq. And we still had a lot of Al-Qaeda and ISIS out there, right?
You're right. Yeah.
But there was no transparency. And there were many more.
And it was in lieu of sending boots on the ground, more
right,
boots
when
on the
Obama
ground.
did. That's right. And so, when Trump did it, we wouldn't even know. And I don't know, in the beginning, and the reason why he started covering it up was because there were so many civilians being killed. Mm-hmm. Because he would take so many risks. Remember, Obama passed on that first strike he did in Yemen, and it ended up killing all of these civilians and didn't kill any terrorists.
Yeah.
At a wedding or something. Yeah. And the reason why Obama passed on it was because it was too risky.
Right.
But this guy.
No, he doesn't care.
No, he doesn't care.
Is a
sociopath.
Thank you.
I mean, and guess what? People are starting to notice. It's unbelievable to us that nobody noticed this before, and the mainstream media normalized this freak. Mm-hmm. And legitimized him.
He's a monster.
He's a monster. Mm-hmm. He has no redeemable characteristics. None. He doesn't even like animals, like Hitler.
Right. This is who the Republican Party, allowed to become their figurehead. Their
God.
Their guy.
Yeah. The base worship him. I mean, and this is no surprise to me, because even during like the 2012, I think it was 2012 campaign, and the person that would be leading, the person that was leading in that primary, in the Republican primary at one point, was Newt Gingrich. Think about that. Newt Gingrich is a sociopath.
Yes.
They've always been. This is who they've always wanted.
Yes.
Donald Trump fulfills all their dreams, all their fantasies.
Yep. So you sent me some additional footage from Mad Dog's appearance on PBS.
Oh yeah,
if you want
to talk some more about Iran. Yeah.
Against Arabs. I mean, this is a regime. Like if the CIA is analyzing the regime to show you how we learn about them, a week ago called it a little excursion. But they are fighting for their lives, the mullahs are, because the people probably will kill them if they overthrow them. They're just that angry at them. So they're fighting like that. What have we learned from it? It's going to be a darn difficult problem. A darn difficult problem. I hope we learned it.
Newly reported assessments suggest that the Iranian regime is not budging. They are not, quote unquote, not cracking, and they are willing to fight to the end. Is it your understanding, based on what you know of the Iranian regime, that it seems plausible that their will is unbroken?
I think it would be very unlikely that this regime would break right now. But like Hemingway's point about how a man went broke gradually and then suddenly,
all at once.
It is a very fragile regime in terms of its grip, but it's strong enough with its murder and all. For example, they've told the Iranian parents, don't let your sons and daughters demonstrate because we will shoot them. We will go after them. So no, they're not going to go away anywhere right now. I would not think that they're going to break.
Yeah, that's the thing. They've been preparing for this for decades.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just saying they've been preparing for this for decades, and so Donald Trump just thinks he's going to go in there and it's going to be one and done like Venezuela, right?
Right.
And here's another thing. I think Bibi Netanyahu said, "Hey, look, the Ayatollah's in a weak place right now. He's had all these protests, right? They just slaughtered like thousands, tens of thousands of their own people because they are a murderous regime, and and he's just at a weak spot. And he probably thought once he gets rid of, decapitates the regime, that the people would actually rise up. But there was no planning. There was no foundation there. There was no, assistance, because you can't just expect these people to just be able to, they don't even have internet, okay? They don't have social media. There's no way for them to coordinate a way to actually rise up against this regime, who, by the way, there's layer upon layer of leadership there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, like he said, they tell the parents, well, if you send your kids out there, we'll shoot them.
Right.
So you think you're going to get let your kids go out there and protest and, overturn this regime? I don't think so.
Right. Right. And and as we have to always say, there is nobody disputing the fact that the Iranian government has been horrible.
Bloodthirsty. They're horrible.
Bloodthirsty. They're terrible. But this is the ironic part, is that the Trump regime over here, while, on the heels of murdering citizens, sending masked federal agents, thugs, into the streets American streets, on the heels of that, killing 2 protesters, unarmed protest, Renee Good was not. Alex Preddy had, legal right to, in the state of Minnesota, to carry, did not brandish the gun. And nonetheless, so they were murdered by their government. And now they're using that as one of the reasons that they're going to war with, taking how many, Marine troops into this war that they started, the war of choice in Iran.
Well, I don't think anybody believed that was why. And I don't think it was. Of course it wasn't, because they don't give a crap about protest. They don't care about a regime cracking down on protesters.
I'm not saying whether people believe it or not. I'm saying that that's what they're saying.
Well, they tried that. That was one of the excuses they did try. But you notice they've dropped that. Now, Donald Trump says they were about to attack us. Any day, they would have attacked us in a day. That's what he said. They would have sent a nuclear missile. It's so ludicrous.
Of course, they keep flipping it.
And he doesn't have the Iranian. Not only do they not have nuclear weapons, they don't have the capabilities to, to send one anywhere. It has to be there. You have to have an ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile. You have to be able to launch it, right? And they don't have that. So, and they're not even close to having that. So it's just stupid. It's just as stupid as WMD.
Right.
But that's what he's going with, and I guess certain people will buy it. Not many. I don't think many people are buying it. Do you?
No. No. MAGA is being completely fractured off of this. There's that, Harry Enton poll that, 100% of MAGA supports it. But, as we talked about earlier in the week, what is 100% of MAGA at this point when you see MAGA people leaving MAGA? Because of this,
Yeah, because they're saying, I'm not MAGA, I'm America first. I mean,
Right.
it's like they ran around, polling everybody who wore a "Make America Great Again" cap. I mean, it's a dumb poll.
Of course.
It's a dumb poll because you're not gonna say you're MAGA,
right,
if you don't support Trump.
Right. Exactly. If you like what you're hearing, please consider subscribing to TruBlu Politics Podcast on Patreon. At any level you can, appreciated and so needed. Anita and I would love to be able to increase the frequency of episodes. We would like to upgrade equipment to make these podcasts even higher quality. But, we have day jobs. We can't do this without support from our loyal listeners and our TruBlu Crew Politics Podcast subscribers. And at any level, you will get additional content as well as be a part of our TruBlu Crew Podcast chat room, where we can interact with you all and hear back. Give us some feedback. Whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on, please consider giving us 4 stars, 5 stars, and a review. We love hearing from you, and we couldn't do it without you. So please consider subscribing. Buy me a coffee. Buy Anita a coffee. And keep the fight going. We are living through unprecedented times with attacks on our democracy and our rights. So we want to continue to be voices in the resistance, and along with you, keep fighting the fight against this autocratic regime. Thanks, everybody. We love you. Okay, so here, I'm going to play this clip that you sent me. This is Carrie Burgess on Twitter. I'm dead naming it. It's probably time for the U.S. to leave Europe as well. So this is part 1 of, I believe, a multi-part TikTok post. Hold on one second.
Oh, I think yes.
Something is happening at American military bases across the Gulf region that the Pentagon is describing with language specifically chosen to obscure what it actually is. The New York Times is covering it. The Jerusalem Post, an Israeli outlet, is covering it. Qatari and Turkish media are covering it with considerably less euphemistic vocabulary than their Western counterparts. Transport aircraft are departing from Qatar carrying personnel. Hangars are being emptied. Positions that American forces have occupied continuously for years, in some cases for decades, are being vacated under operational conditions that the official framing is carefully not describing accurately. The Pentagon calls it strategic repositioning. The New York Times calls it a redesign of military presence. Turkish media calls it what it is. American forces are leaving the positions that Iranian missiles and drones have made untenable. Not because the mission is complete. Not because the operational objectives have been achieved. Not because the security environment has improved. But because the early warning radar network that those bases depended on for survivable operation has been systematically destroyed across 16 days of sustained Iranian strikes, leaving the installations exposed to a continuing strike tempo that the remaining defensive architecture cannot absorb at acceptable cost to the personnel inside them. This is not speculation. The New York Times, which has no institutional incentive to characterize American military movements in terms unfavorable to the administration, is covering this story. Israeli media is covering it. The sourcing is not Iranian state media or anonymous social accounts. It is confirmed Western outlets and allied country journalism describing transport aircraft on the ground, personnel movements, and the systematic emptying of forward positions across a geographic area that extends from Bahrain through Iraq, Jordan, Syria, the UAE, and multiple other Gulf locations simultaneously. When American forward presence is being reduced across that many countries at the same time, under conditions of active conflict with an adversary conducting sustained offensive operations, the vocabulary of strategic repositioning is doing a specific kind of work. It is the vocabulary of an institution that cannot publicly acknowledge the operational reality its personnel are living without producing political consequences that the administration is not prepared to absorb.
I'm going to pause it there. How does this help Israel?
You know what? I don't know if Israel, I don't know, but
do you think they thought this through?
Yeah, no, I don't know if they thought this through. I guess they want to be able to have control over certain parts of the Middle East and not have any kind of threats to them.
But here's the thing: the presence of the United States has always been to the benefit of Israel.
Well, no, yeah, you're right. I mean,
right?
And all these other countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar and UAE are now rethinking, hey, why do we have American military bases here? They're only making us a target. We thought we had them here to protect us, but what they're doing is making us a target.
Right.
So Israel, they're not more safe. Are you kidding?
Israel is definitely not more safe. These other countries are not more safe.
No. And that's why it's going to completely change the American presence in the Middle East and our influence.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Anita,
yes.
So you sent me this old tweet by Donald Trump, and I'm going to have to read this. I'm sorry.
No, the one that. Which one?
This is the radical left Democrats.
Oh no, it's on an old tweet. He just sent that today.
Oh, this was today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's freaking out. About what's happening.
There's another old tweet.
Yeah.
It's coming up. Okay. So, do you want me to read it in his voice, or do you want me to read it?
Read it in, no, not his voice.
Not his voice?
Do your other voice.
If the radical left Democrats don't immediately sign an agreement to let country, in particular our airports, be free and safe again, I will move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports where they will do security like no one has ever seen before, including the immediate arrest of the illegal immigrants who have come into our country, with heavy emphasis on those from Somalia, who have totally destroyed, with the approval of a corrupt governor, attorney general, and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, the once great state of Minnesota. I look forward to seeing ICE in action at our airports. Make America great again. President Donald J. Trump.
Thank you very much, Donald Trump.
You're welcome.
That's the only way I can take those, okay?
All right, there you go. That's
so
it.
Yes.
Now going forward, that's the only way
that's
we're going
to
read those.
That's the only way you can read them, and I'll be able to handle it. But he's crazy. He's freaking out, and now he's going
sociopath.
Yeah, he's going back. Yes, he's a sociopath, and he's going back to the culture wars because right now the Senate met on a weekend because they had to have an emergency session. The Republicans, I mean, and guess what that emergency was? Was it the war? Yes. Yes, Karen. Do you think it was the war? There was an emergency? No.
Wait, what was it? No, it wasn't?
No. Was it gas prices?
No.
No. Was it inflation? No. Again.
No.
No. It was transgender in sports. It was trans women. I mean, trans men, or trans women in sports. They had to meet on an emergency basis for that. Now, what do you think's going on there? They're saying the midterms. They're saying they have no chance, and they're meeting to find out. I mean, how is this an emergency at all? This is so stupid. This is one of the dumbest things I've heard about. I mean, they've done. It is so transparent.
It is so transparent. And honestly, the people like, the woman that was interviewed at the gas station that was, like, I'm a fucking idiot. Donald Trump is,
She
a
wasn't
piece
screaming
of
about
shit.
transgenders and trans women in sports?
No,
No.
she wasn't. And I mean, so.
No, she was screaming about she was an idiot. They were at the gas station.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
and here this. So you sent. We'll play this. Ashley Babbitt's family.
She's screaming about transgender women in sports.
No, this is Ashley Babbitt's family member.
Oh, okay.
Here.
So I'll tell you this. Actually, I'm cousins with Ashley Babbitt, who died on January 6th, and I'm really pissed off at Trump. It's like I lost a relative, over at the Capitol on January 6th, fighting for Trump. He's an absolute sellout. He gets an F in my book as far as his presidency. MAGA's dead. I'm embarrassed by the people who have forfeited their critical thinking skills and are still supporting him.
I'm guessing you're not a big fan of the war in Iran either?
I'm sorry?
I'm guessing you're not a big fan of the war in Iran?
No, I'm not. My brother fought in Tel Aviv. He was a combat sniper for the Army back in 2005. Did 2 years over in Tel Aviv. Lost a bunch of his buddies. Now he works for Homeland Security. Hasn't gotten a paycheck in, I don't know, almost a month now. And Trump's just an absolute sellout. Absolute disgrace.
And I'm not asking you to speak out of line here, but you know how Ashley's family currently feels about all of this?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was just at my cousin's house the other day. My cousin Aaron, he was married to Ashley, and Ashley was a diehard patriot. That girl served 14 years in the military, right? And, my cousin was suing the government for $30 million, and, there's talk that Trump called and said, give him 5 and just get this over with. And that's what my cousin got.
Well, I also, there was other issues with January 6 groups that were looking for justice from this administration, and essentially they all got stonewalled.
Yeah, and I wouldn't doubt it if Trump was behind it. I just think we've been played. We've been so played. I'm shocked. It's almost like finding out your spouse has another family in a different part of the country. It's unbelievable. I didn't vote for him in 2020. I voted in 2016 and 2024, and I really had faith in this guy, and I just can't believe it. This is what we're witnessing right now. And like I said, my cousin was he was military. He was in the Marines. Ashley was in the Air Force. My brother served in Tel Aviv in 2005, combat sniper. And these guys, they don't care about anybody. We're literally being ruled by a satanic, self-serving mafia. They're either raping and killing kids, or they're skimming from the till. I don't understand how we have $39 trillion worth of debt in this country, and all I've watched, I'm 45 years old, and all I've watched since 2001 is the decline of my country.
And about your analogy, which I think is so perfect, it's not only that we found out he has a second family. We find out we're the second family. Like, we find out we're the extra family, and it's like he takes off the mustache and the wig and the glasses and said, sorry, I've been lying to you. My real name is this. My real family's over here. And by the way, I'm actually done with you. Bye.
Yeah, it's astounding. I've never seen anything like it. I've been voting since I was 18 years old. I've always voted Republican. I live in a super liberal state in Massachusetts, but I was raised by Republicans, and I love my country. And I just can't believe, I've been laid off for a while. I went down the Israeli thing a year and a half, and it's just wild what is going on with our country. And the boomers, they sold us out, and they're sitting on $85 trillion worth of assets right now, and we're the young American people are struggling right now, and we're really divided. A lot of people are out of touch.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
You hear that? That's me banging my head against
Me too.
the wall.
Come on.
Come on now.
Seriously. This guy, when you said the two families, yeah, that's him. He would have another family somewhere.
Russia is his first family.
That's where Putin is his real wife.
Exactly.
No, he's a wife.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. How much? Yes, Jesus. I mean, seriously, the fact that these people bought into this guy, it's
Well,
just.
and this is the thing too. I've been a Republican all my life. I love this. I love America. I'm a
I love
patriot.
him.
As though that's the whole thing, and they've been selling that bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, she's been a patriot. She's been a patriot. She voted for a guy that's destroying the country. I'm sorry, but I mean,
You voted for a guy in 2024 that incited
attacked the Capitol.
Thank you.
And tried to
and
overturn
got your family member to
Oh
go
my God! And got her killed. And the fact is, he lied to them. He got her killed.
Yes, he got her killed.
Yep. I guess in a way she deserves the $5 million because he got her killed and he was the president at the time.
Yeah.
But the way they talk about it and the injustice of the not January 6ers, and you can tell these guys, they live in this world, and this is a peek into it. They're not happy.
Mm-mm.
So I doubt she voted for Biden in 2020. She probably just didn't vote. But this is what's going to happen. These people, they're crazy, and they have no judgment whatsoever. So they probably aren't going to vote in the midterms. And I don't know what's going to happen in 2028. I think we need to take it one thing at a time, one election at a time, because who knows what's going to be happening then. But, and Marco Rubio and JD Vance, I mean, they've kissed their careers goodbye. Not that just being attached to this guy, honestly, to me, ruins their careers. When people say, oh, this is going to ruin them because of Iran. Are you kidding? This is a disaster from top to bottom.
Oh my God.
This was already happening before the Iran war started. The economy was in the shitter. All of the things that he promised, this was just the icing on the cake. The fact that he promised no new wars and all this, and then he goes and starts another Middle East war. Are you kidding me? On false pretenses?
Yeah. Yeah. So we know, he's a sociopath. He is completely inept. He's completely incompetent. But Anita, to be fair, he is a seer. He is a seer of the future. And
I know.
Nobody can tell me otherwise. I'm going to play something for you now.
Wait. No, what? No. Who is he? What's his name?
Nostradumbass.
Yeah, guess who this is?
He can see into the future. So you can say what you like. You can say that he's a failed businessman.
No, but everything he says comes true.
You can say that he can't sell steaks.
You can say that he cheats on his wife with porn stars.
Exactly. You can say that he bankrupts casinos, but you know what? He is a seer. He's a seer of the future. He is the official American Nostradumbass.
Will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage. This is a great time to negotiate. Unfortunately, we have a president that doesn't know the first thing about negotiation. We have a real problem in the White House. So I believe that he will attack Iran sometime prior to the election because he thinks that's the only way he can get elected. Isn't it pathetic?
Yeah, he did negotiate. Obama did. It was called the JCPOA. Oh. But somebody else tore that up.
That's inconvenient.
And now he went to war with Iran before the midterms that he was going to lose.
Wait a minute.
Nostradumbass strikes again.
Wait a minute. Do you think that this is to, before the midterms, that this is why this is happening?
Well, I don't know. Would he do that?
No. And we scoured the interwebs and were able to find yet another
Nostradumbass.
tweet. This is an old tweet by Nostradumbass.
Look at the world today. Look at the missiles flying right now in the Middle East. Look at what's happening with Russia, Ukraine. Look at inflation destroying the world. None of this would happen while I was president.
No, none of that would happen when he's
None.
president. All of it would happen.
It literally is happening.
Yeah, literally.
But wait, he's not president. Isn't Gavin Newsom, right? He's
that's right. President Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
That's true.
Just wait. Oh my God, Anita.
I know. We are so fucked.
We're so fucked.
This would be one thing if it was like in this third or fourth year. But he just finished the first year. We've got 3 more years of this shit. But we do have one hopeful thing coming, and that's the midterms.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have to get out, and everybody. I mean, my God, and everybody needs to come out for the No Kings rally on Karen's birthday,
mm-hmm.
March 28th.
March 28th.
Yes, and get your signs ready.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be nice. Hopefully, that heat wave will be gone, or maybe it'll be here in Texas. I hope not.
Right. Well, yeah. Nonetheless, I mean, the organizers are so on it.
Mhm.
They're so good at what they do, so they will, take every measure to keep people safe and hydrated.
Yeah.
That they can. So
they're
just
so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so nice there. They give out water. I mean,
mm-hmm. So everybody, March 28th. Look for a No Kings rally near you.
you can go
and
to Indivisible.
Indivisible. Right. Yep. Oh my God.
Who else is doing it? Is it 50-50 or 50? What's that called?
50-51. I haven't seen much, but Mobilize. You can go to Mobilize and look to see where there's a No Kings protest near you.
Maybe Move On. I don't know if Move On's doing it, but
yeah. I definitely know for sure that Mobilize and Indivisible
for sure.
So
and there's an Indivisible by everybody.
Right. And I mean, we definitely here in Chicago we had our primaries, and so there was good turnout.
Yeah.
Very good turnout, and we have to head into the midterms thinking positive, but understanding some of the challenges that there could potentially crop up. Making sure that people are registered, making sure that people check their registration every couple of weeks between now and November, and get as many people. Bring 10 people, bring 20 people with you to the polls. As many as you can get.
Yes, and vote early. I mean, I know this is the thing you've talked about. Vote early, especially if you live in a red state like Texas, because we know there are going to be shenanigans, like what happened to Jasmine Crockett and in Dallas, where they were moved, and they did this in other places too. They moved the different the polling places to places where people didn't know. I mean, they actually, the state wouldn't even, the state elections board, we usually are able to find out where you're supposed to vote. They had the wrong place on there. So, I mean, it was just a total clusterfuck.
Yeah.
But so if you don't want to have to worry about that, and you don't have to worry about goons showing up at your, polling place and harassing you, or worry about maybe if, somehow, I don't know, they don't have you on the rolls, or there's some mistake, that you can get that fixed ahead of time.
Yeah.
You have time for that. So try to go early as soon as you can, actually.
Exactly. Yeah. Because if there is any issue, then, you have, you potentially have some more time to, sort through it and deal with it, rather than waiting, having to stand in long lines on election day and then finding out that there's an issue, because of some, shenanigan that the Republican Party is pulled.
Yeah. or
day of, right?
or you go to the wrong polling place because you don't know.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know,
There's so many reasons to vote early, and if you can, if you can do it, do it.
You may get sick on vote, election day.
Exactly right. Right. This is not the time to take, chance anything. Leave it to the last minute. Get out. And there's no lines. There's literally
no lines, and you still get your sticker.
Yep.
I voted sticker.
Yep.
When you vote by mail,
experience. Yeah, it's the same experience as going on election day, except you don't wait in line.
That's right. Do you get a sticker when you vote by mail?
I think
they do. I think I got one with my absentee thing. I think I got one.
I don't know, but all we know is that this is, it's imperative that, we exercise our rights as citizens of this country and members of democracy.
Oh, there's a reason why they're trying to make it so hard for us to vote.
That's right. So, well, listen, on that note, I think it's time to say goodbye.
Say goodbye? Okay.
Yeah, it went very fast.
I know.
But,
well, let's go.
Let's go. And next week we will be doing a bonus episode with our good friend John Barton, who is a farmer in Illinois, who I was able to hear and when I was in studio with Richard Chu and speak to just briefly. But he's we're going to get some insight from him about what farmers in Illinois specifically, but more broadly, what they're seeing now too with everything that's going on. So anyway,
especially with the fertilizer shortage, I'm curious about that.
Exactly. So that's definitely going to be one of the topics we cover, right?
For sure.
Yep. So anyway, all right, Anita. Well, have a great.
You too. Enjoy your day, everybody. Enjoy your week.
Love you all
guys
out there.
Love you. Bye.